Yes, there's a Zanny, but Zanny kidnapped Kaylee. Kidnapped Kaylee 31 days ago. It's interesting that though Casey got the date wrong, in other words, remember she told the police it was June 9th, it was actually the 16th. She got the number of days right. 31 days. 31 of the 55 were gone. I haven't seen my daughter in 31 days. I've been looking for her. I've been doing my own investigation, and tells this elaborate story of how she knows Zanny because she works at Universal, and Jeff Hopkins and his son Zach and Zanny and all the other children, and tells the police this elaborate, consistent lie. And initially the police treat her as if in fact she's a victim of a child kidnapping. But the more they investigate her story, the more it seems to fall apart. In what can only be described as, if it weren't true, you couldn't write it this good, is the incident at Universal Studios. But it's indicative of Casey Anthony and who she is and what she does. She maintains this story about the kidnapping, about working at Universal. She takes them to Universal. She walks with great confidence from the security gate to a building, enters the building with absolute confidence, walks to the end of a hallway, turns around, puts her hands in her pockets and says, "Okay, I don't work here." Casey Anthony maintains her lies until they absolutely cannot be maintained anymore. When she gets to the end of that hallway, or when she gets to the end of that conversation with her brother and realizes this lie has failed me, so I must abandon it and replace it with a new one. So, in that amazing conversation with Yuri Melich and with John Allen, she admits to lying about working at Universal for reasons which are not clear, but maintains the Zanny story. I'm lying to you about working here, but everything else I told you is true. And she maintains that lie through conversation with law enforcement. She maintains that lie through conversations with her parents and her family, which you saw through all of July and into August. But during that period of time, a problem comes up, and that is that her claim of where she dropped Kaylee off has been conclusively disproven. There's just no way that's true. Her claim that she was looking for Kaylee has also been conclusively disproven. There's no way it's true. Realizing that, when she is briefly released from jail on bond and stays with her family, she comes up with the new story. The kidnapping story, the forceful kidnapping story, the Blanchard Park story. Remember the testimony where she told her brother Lee when she was out in that later part of August that in fact, yes, Zanny did kidnap Kaylee, but it was by force. We met at Blanchard Park on the 16th, that they held my arms, they held me down, they took Kaylee away from me because I was a bad mother. Again, faced with overwhelming evidence that the story is a lie, Casey comes up with a new one. Call it Casey 3.0, a new version. The problem with that version comes up on December the 11th of 2008. United States Exhibit 208, please. Kaylee's remains are found. Kaylee's remains are found within a quarter mile of the Anthony home. with her remains are found a number of items, a number of very important items. Could I have 222, please? Could I have State's Exhibits 302 and 284? The first, and that should be the gas can and the first problem is the tape. The tape that is found on Caylee Anthony's remains, which is contained in this box, in this bag, and you can look at 3 pieces of duct tape, photograph we see here with a distinctive brand on it, Henkel brand duct tape, found on Caylee's body. The difficulty for Caylee 3.0 is that the same tape that was found on Caylee's body is also found on a gas can taken from her home. And you'll see from the sales exhibit you have that was put in by the defense that this tape is a fairly rare kind of tape. Hasn't been sold since 2007. And even then, it was only a couple, like 100,000 rolls of it sold. It's very unusual tape. And it's on Caylee's body, and it's on that exhibit. And in fact, in what has got to be the most bizarre part of this case, that very tape was used unknowingly by her own father to display a photograph of Caylee, that missing person poster. The tape that was used to kill Caylee Anthony was used to implore people to look for her. Could I have photograph in evidence 224? This is the bag that Caylee was found in. This is what, I guess you could say this was her coffin. This bag, could I have photograph 227? This is the tag from that very same bag. 293. This is a laundry bag taken from the Anthony house during a search warrant on, I believe, December the 11th of 2008. This is the make of the bag that served as Caylee's coffin. Remember, we saw a photograph of an ad. They're sold in sets. There's a square one. There's a cylindrical one. This is the square one. The cylindrical one is in this bag. State's Exhibit 264. I'd rather not take it out because it's not in very good condition. Because that bag is Caylee's coffin. Could I have State's Exhibit, photo State's Exhibit 233? This is the photograph of the shorts that were found with the remains of Caylee Anthony. You'll recall from the medical examiner's testimony, it's very, very tattered from decomposition. State's Exhibit 314. This is a photograph of Caylee Anthony.